Knox undefeated freshman playing Tempe's undefeated freshman, and those maybe are the two best football teams, football games in the Valley this week.
You might be right, and of course, those particular schools have to be smiling because that means that in a year or two, they're going to get a lot of help from those freshman teams. Let's run down the top 10 teams around the Valley this particular week. It'll be #1 Moon Valley. This particular week will be at Marcus Deniza, as Barry pointed out, interdivisional game. #2 ranked South Mountain. As the Jaguars continue to roll, they'll be at Chaparral against Jim Bevel's Firebirds. St. Mary's ranked #3 will be at home to Greenway, an important game for Greenway there. Mountain View ranked #4, the game you're seeing, against the 7th ranked Jackrabbits of Mesa. Trevor Brown #5, only one loss on their record this year, as they are playing host to the Dons of Coronado this week. #6 ranked Amphitheater down south will be meeting Catalina, home game for Amphi there. Another good game over on the east side of the Valley, #8 ranked Dobson against #9 ranked Westwood. That game played at Westwood. And also #10 ranked Sunnyside, again down south, will be going against Santa Rita, a game at Sunnyside. That's all the time we have for our halftime show. We might just point out before we sign off that freshman game Barry talked about, Greenway and St. Mary's. St. Mary's freshmen going for their 62nd consecutive victory. That's quite a record. Sit back now and enjoy second half action. Mountain View and Mesa coming up next.
Furniture. On the campus of Mountain View in this big Central Region shootout between Mesa and Mountain View. The Toros leading at the half by a score of 11-6. George Allen and Doug Gerlach with you. Mesa started out quickly as they took the ball, and on this scoring drive, this big pass from Jim Richardson to slot back Dennis Milius over the middle was good for a 44-yard gain and put the ball down inside the 10-yard line and set up the first touchdown of the ball game, which came shortly thereafter on this 9-yard scoring strike from Richardson to Sean Griffin, who makes the catch right back to the corner of the end zone. The point was missed, and it was 6-0 in favor of Mesa. After a safety put Mountain View on the board, making the score 6-2, the Toros started the drive. And Trevor Kavanaugh dropped back on this screen pass, and he hit Steve Lindhorst out of the backfield, who had a lot of running room out in front of him. And before Lindhorst was finally corralled, he was down inside the 10-yard line. And that set up the next touchdown of the ball game, a 1-yard sneak by quarterback Trevor Kavanaugh, following the blocking of Baron Vranis and Robert Clemens on the left side of the line. The kick was good, and it was 9-6 in favor of Mountain View. They added another safety when a snap went over the head of kicker Tom Duncan of Mesa out of the end zone, and that's where we stare in halftime, a score of 11-6 in favor of Mountain View. And I would guess if you're Jim Rattay in the locker room with Mesa now, you got to say to your troops, hey, we've had some things go against us in the first half. We haven't gotten our running game in gear yet, but we're still only 5 down.
That's right. Only less than a touchdown behind, and the Jackrabbits really didn't play a particularly good half of football. All he's got to tell them is come out and play like you have all season long, and you're right back in this ballgame.
Halftime at Mountain View. It's 11-6 in favor of the Toros. Back with second half action after this timeout. Mountain View has made their appearance back on the field prior to the second half. We await the appearance of the Jackrabbits of Mesa High School. There's your score. Mountain View leading by a score of 11-6, and some other big games going on around the Valley this particular weekend. One of the real big one in Central Region play, which could affect the positions of the playoff teams, is Westwood playing Dobson this particular weekend, and also an interregional game on the east side of town with Marcus Deniza of the Central Region hosting the #1 ranked team in the state, the Rockets of Moon Valley. Next week, the regular season comes to an end in AAA high school football. Then the playoffs get underway on the 21st, the first round of the playoffs. Then the quarterfinals will take place on the 28th, the semifinals on December 5th, and the championship game this year at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe on December the 13th. That'll be a doubleheader, by the way. In case you do not know, they changed the times. It'll be afternoon affairs. The AAA Division II championship will be at noon on December 13th, followed at about 3 o'clock by the AAA Division I championship game. Mesa making their appearance now on the far side of the field. And I don't believe there's a seat to be had in this stadium. They are lined up around the fences here at Mountain View to watch this from a standing room only crowd to see the Toros and the Jackrabbits try and decide who's the top team in the Central Region as of now. Mesa took the opening kickoff to start the football game, so Mountain View will have it to start the second half of play. Halftime statistics in this Central Region football game. Total yards pretty darn close. Only 7 yards separate the two ball clubs. Mesa accumulating most of their yards through the air, as you see. And that good running attack of Mesa. Remember, they have the number 1 and number 8 rushers in the Central Region. They've been held pretty well in check.
That's right. And in a sense, those statistics are misleading. Because while the Jackrabbits have 103 yards total offense, 70 were picked up on the one scoring drive. And other than that scoring drive, obviously, the Jackrabbits have very little to show for their efforts.
And, of course, for Mountain View, they are a ground-oriented team, and they've chalked up close to 80 yards rushing in the first half. So things going, I would guess, the way Jess Parker would like to see them go. Ball control, a big thing for Mountain View. And on that one scoring drive, they ate up almost 6 minutes off the clock. Mountain View, state champions in 1978 and 1983. They had a very big ball game earlier this year with McClintock, where they chewed up 491 yards total offense, and they gave up just 92 yards to McClintock in a lopsided 31-0 victory. And last week in the win over Corona del Sol, they sacked quarterback Lane Reynolds of Corona 7 times, and they put a lot of pressure on Richardson in the first half. That's Brendan Zachary standing back deep to await the kickoff to start this second half. Mesa 6-0 in league play. Mountain View 5-1 in league play. Teeing up the football is Darren Jekyll, the 5'10 senior, 150-pounder. And we're about set to go. So the final 24 minutes of action in this one about set to unfold. Nice to have you with us on ESPN. And Jekyll approaches the football. And it's a low bounding kick, and whistles blow. And we're going to obviously do it over again. The one guy who obviously knew the play was coming back was the kicker, Darren Jekyll, because he never moved from the tee once he kicked it off. The penalty is against Mountain View, procedure call. And so they'll kick it off one more time. Richardson, coming into this ball game tonight, had thrown for 8 touchdowns. He's added 1 tonight. He's also thrown 5 interceptions. And Richardson was just a little over 90 yards shy of the 1,000-yard mark in passing this year. Meanwhile, Chad Steffen came in as the leading rusher in the Central Region, over 700 yards on the season. And his running mate in the backfield, Eric Salter, had over 500 yards. So between those two running backs alone, they had accounted for 1,210 yards rushing on the season. But only a bit over 20 yards worth of rushing yards in the first half for Mesa. We'll see if they can change that in the second half. Now we have Tom Duncan to kick off. And Duncan booms it away.